Okay, everyone, welcome. I am so excited for this episode experience. It has been a journey getting everything together for sure. It's the first one we're getting together and there's a lot to it, but it's been really amazing to do it with such an amazing guest and someone who is just so gracious in their being and a very calming nature. I'm really excited for everyone to get to know who she is. And first off, the overall journey of really understanding the power and connecting with yourself and branching out to doing something that you haven't done before and something new is exactly how I met with Kadi. And it was so beautiful. I just randomly wanted to look for a sound bowl experience in Boca del Rey area, Florida. And I saw a couple of different experiences, but hers just caught my eye in a different way. And it was something that I felt a little nervous about. I was like, oh my God, I'm going by myself. I'm not used to this kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I should do it. And I'm so glad I took that leap because that's how I met her. And I'm very, very excited to share who she is and the depths of her reflection with anyone that's watching this. And first off, we're outside, which is really beautiful. Nice sunny day. We're having a little bit of strawberries, some kiwi, a little lemon tarts, all really fresh stuff, and some cucumber and lemon water, which is going to be very refreshing and yummy. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our amazing guest. And the way that we typically do things here is to actually have that first question of introduction being, who are you? Without your name, without your role or title, who do you feel you are in this moment right now? So that question's for you. How would you like to answer that and go about it?
So first of all, before answering to that question, thank you, Autumn, so much from my heart for approaching me with this invitation to join you and to have the conversations as a friend. And it was beautiful how we met, and I really feel like just the beginning of our friendship. Yeah. So it is really beautiful to be here outside with you. But coming back with the question, or to that question, who am I? It's a big question, right? It's a big question. What currently comes through is that I am eternal soul who has incarnated into this body, into this embodiment to experience life, to be a student of life, and to walk this path of self-realization toward my highest self.
So beautiful. And what are your roles and titles to follow up with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from that then how I walk myself to that self-realization, or how I bring that forward, is through my spiritual practices that have also led me where I am today as a yoga student and also as a yoga teacher.
So beautiful. What an introduction. I'm excited to just do this, and it's just so nice. It's really, your answer was just so, it definitely captivates who you are and the energy that you hold. And I keep mentioning her energy just because it is so strong, without saying a word, just that embodiment. It's beautiful. So okay, well, we got the waterworks already, which is amazing. I feel them too, so No worries. So today we're just going to have a conversation, and I think that it's so important to side this plane. We'll pause for the plane. No worries. Okay, cool. So just to start off with this conversation, when any healer, because that's essentially one version of yourself, you are a healer. The way that you work with the body, that works with the mind, that works with someone's spirit and their soul, you're healing people. And it's like that work has not many words to it. It's all feeling. And even when we describe to someone like what you do, they can't really understand it until they experience it. And so for them to actually experience it, they have to connect with themselves. And at my healing guidance, something that I strongly believe is that the way we make our work so beautiful and really help people to overcome the things that they're going through in general or just living life is to connect back with yourself. And so my first question to you to start this conversation is just, what ways do you feel help you to really connect back to the roots of who Kadi is? And maybe even giving us an overview of how you've come to this place in your life right now, if you feel like that's going to be able to just help reflect who you are.
Definitely. So, I am born and raised in Estonia. And about 9 years ago, me and my life partner decided to come to Florida for a longer vacation. And that led us into opportunities, and that we started to build our life here. And that was also a time when I started to really look into spiritual practices. Spiritual teachers. I found yoga for myself here in Florida. I never practiced anything like that back in Europe, back in Estonia. So it was really, I would say, a little bit of my kind of soul's awakening here to really see what else is there, you know. And by just simply practicing these things, these beautiful practices, yoga mostly, but then also holistic therapy, inner child work, shadow work, soon after also meditation, daily meditation, self-reflection through journaling, and also for the past year, daily breath work, Kundalini breath work has been all that has led me where I am right now. And these are the tools that I cannot go without, you know. Those tools, or these tools, are there for me daily, most of them. And then wherever I need something more, then I go back to my holistic therapy or things like that. But yes, that's the journey really started, I think, here, you know, by letting go everything that was there in Europe, in Estonia, my positions, my career, my attachments to things. So I was able to create space and to start really dive deep into my own self.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. It's just something that I notice in what you're saying with that is just that transition, which is a major transition, because it's not as easy as it may sound or seem to, okay, well, yeah, just let go of that. Oh, yeah, just, you don't feel happy here, just leave. Like, there's so much there. And I remember in our conversation before, you saying that you actually enjoyed what you did.
Yes,
you
very
loved
much.
it. So at what point did you have that realization that you wanted something different? And although Florida did help, it is just that place. And so what in you do you feel changed for you to actually come to this realization that you wanted more in a different light for your life?
For me, actually, it has been really natural. Just life itself has offered me new, or opened up me to new things and opened new doors for me. And by doing that, I just, start to go deeper. And it has really been a beautiful and very natural journey. I guess, I loved my career back in Europe, back in Estonia. I was great what I was doing. I have such deep gratitude to that. But maybe also I was too much, attaching myself to that, to my position, to my career, not understanding that there's so much more. We're not our positions, we're not our roles that we play, even though we all have our roles too in this life, but that's not who we really are. Like, if I change my position or my career, I'm still me, and I guess just letting go what I thought I was able to wake up to who I really am.
That's beautiful. How did that, what are the different ways that ricocheted into your life? Not only just how you pivoted and started to go a very holistic healing route, but any other way that maybe that huge decision that you made, how did it actually have a domino effect in other areas of your life, like maybe relationships or just anything else, how you see yourself?
Can you open that question more up to me?
Yeah. So typically, I noticed that whenever there's like the most air traffic in life right now.
That's perfect, because I need to blow my nose. That's perfect. I have slight sinus going on. So. Or maybe just tears. So I love that we're giggling and laughing, and I'm more open now. I feel it.
Very good, nice.
Yes.
So, have you ever heard the butterfly effect?
Yes, the cocoon and.
Yeah, and then also like there's this I don't know if it's scientific or what it is, but the butterfly effect is also when, I don't know if it's one butterfly or many butterflies, like in Africa, are just like flapping their wings. It affects the world. I don't know what part of the world, but it just affects everything else. And so my question is just, when you made the decision, and usually it's a process, sometimes we can't pinpoint a certain moment, but when you actually got to that place where you wanted to see life differently, and you actually were detaching yourself from the identification that I am my job, or this title really holds me to this level of my worth, and like just different things like that. When you were going through that process, what else did that programming, that mindset, that almost like not struggle, but just that, I don't know what the word would be, that process of like crawling your way out of something, what else was triggered off, whether good or bad, in that journey that you went through? So in the midst of allowing yourself to detach from that identification of your job beforehand.
Again, it has been really natural process. As you said, like, it's maybe hard to pinpoint to that, right? So it has been more about just, showing up to my practices, showing up to yoga. And when I found yoga for myself, it was just a practice for my body. And soon enough, I realized, no, it's so much more. It's a practice for my mind and for my spirit. And, yoga meaning to connect body, mind, and spirit. So I think just, by showing up, by doing and practicing, though there will be, and there have been ripple effects all around, me, my relationships with my partner, my relationships with my parents, my sisters, my friends, my community, all of that. Noticing my patterns, noticing what works and what doesn't, noticing when I act from my ego, and when I act from my heart, from my higher self, or from the place of my heart. A lot of, releasing our childhood, releasing our patterns that our parents, had when I was growing up, and really noticing where in my life I was playing them out myself, and just simply understanding that this is not my path, or this is not where I want to go, and just having an awareness that I want to be more mindful, and I want to, bring change forward in my life. So when I also teach yoga, I very often come back to the idea or the concept of yoga doesn't end on your mat. You take yoga with you. Yoga is not something you do. Yoga is something you become. That, yes, we practice it on the mat only to take it to our life and live that practice outside of our mat or in our lives. So I hope that answers to your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. There are a couple different points there that you mentioned that were really very, very deep and very true to the healing journey in general. And what you mentioned is you become yoga, that full embodiment of not just physically doing the things, but actually becoming your greatest self in that way, or becoming the flow, and having that masculine and feminine energy just bonding with each other, and it's a whole art and expression that happens. Something I wanted to ask you with that, when you mentioned the patterns that you notice within yourself, and like with your childhood and just anything that you went through, really, what was one of the patterns that you really had to work through and become conscious of in order to really release yourself of just any bondage internally?
It's a big one. I was raised up very independently, or to be very independent. And also oftentimes that meant that I was taking on responsibilities from others, taking too much on myself to carry. So that has definitely been a huge, huge kind of thing to notice and slowly start to let go of, like to be in control, or to think that I have to manage it all, or I have to be the one who is, in charge, and especially in my own personal relationship dynamic. Yeah, so I was raised up to be the one who, you know, decides and goes and does things, takes control, and I had to notice that there were times and moments between me and my partner when I was taking too much control or too much responsibility over his, you know, life, maybe his health, and also maybe too much responsibility from our life together. I remember when I reached out to now she's my holistic therapist, but I reached out to her, I think it was maybe 6 years ago, with the idea that maybe she can help my mom going through her, you know, life and struggles and mental disease. And then while I was calling her and discussing her, what she does and all the, you know, holistic therapies that she incorporates into her practice, I was just talking with her and then stopping and realizing that, well, actually, I think I'm the one who needs to have, you know, a session with you.
Wow. That's a huge realization. Yeah.
Yeah. It was huge.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the butterfly effect of just like, it's amazing how you just notice that. It's really interesting when we're just what comes to us when we're following a certain path and we take certain things, all of a sudden we realize, oh my god, this is for me to do at this point. And that healing can occur in yourself, and typically to help other people, it's us helping ourselves. So if you want, just like elaborating on that just portion of that realization you had, you wanted to see that holistic therapist.
Yeah. I think that was in a lot of way also a big moment in my life when I, you know, started to do the shadow work and understanding the childhood, and then how I was raised. And I have deep love and gratitude for my parents. They did best that they knew how to, you know, raise me and love me, and I'm eternally grateful for them. But you know, they came with their traumas, and how I'm able to change that is only just, you know, doing my own inner work by releasing them and understanding that those are not the patterns that I want to keep living and bring forward into my relationships, whatever it's my partner or my friends or family.
Yeah. When you realized that that's not what you wanted to bring into your own life and your experience, and you going through the motion of actually doing the shadow work, that just the healing in general, there's so many different terms, but just the healing, like the hard crap no one wants to do, no one wants to cry it out, no one wants to feel it again. And in that process, how did it help you to start seeing yourself? Like, what energy from that arise within you?
I guess mostly self-acceptance. and self-love, towards who I am at this very moment, who I was there at that moment when I realized, and who I am in each moment as I'm, becoming and growing into a person I'm intended or meant to be, a soul, a spirit, just, navigating this life. Yeah, acceptance, self-acceptance is or has been a big part of that in my journey.
What does that mean to you, self-acceptance?
So accepting who I am, accepting, my past, accepting what is here right now, not seeing life happening to me, but life happening for me. Understanding and accepting that all that has been is for me to really realize and go deeper and deeper within. Acceptance that, or acceptance to where I am right now, living, in a different continent, away from my parents and family. Acceptance, choosing my own path.
Beautiful. That's amazing. It takes it's almost as if you had allowed yourself to actually become the creator of your life, like just co-creating that life and knowing that you have that power to really change things that maybe at one point you thought that you'd have to always live with, or this is the way that I just am, is the way that some people look at it. And just for you to take that control and responsibility, which is the biggest part, like having that courage, it takes responsibility to just say, it's not everyone else's fault. This is something I'm going to take responsibility, whether you did something or not, or you inflicted something or not. In order for us to actually understand that there is a solution to this, we have to claim responsibility. And it's for ourselves, and that's what you did. And it's just, I definitely applaud you for that, because it's truly so not easy and so beautiful. And your tears of just that energy from that experience and what's come out of it, and allowing it to just transmute itself in a different way, in a way that you feel good with to even talk about today, is just brings me in awe, just to know what you've gone through to make up who you are and where you are at today, and with your business and just everything, your life, as a person, as a wife, like just everything. So I'm gonna pause us right here, and just gonna take a little snack, quick break, and then we'll get back to it. Sound good?
Thank you.
Okay. So, to follow up with where we were, I wanted to ask you something that came up to me. Within every, just like imagining, maybe if you close your eyes, a little experiment, close your eyes, let's just tune into the environment. It's a really pretty day, sunny, all the elements are surrounding you. It's just us two here, literally. Take a nice deep breath in, and just like nice exhale. Who do you feel you embody when you are in your classes or any experiences that you are hosting? What do you feel within you really comes out? What gifts are highlighted within yourself? And how does that feel to cultivate that space of just using your gifts? And you can open your eyes whenever you feel, but just tuning you into that.
In a lot of what I do, I go back to Seva, the selfless service, to be in service, and to also, be my authentic, or to be authentic version of myself, to share my heart, my love, to the practice as I'm teaching or when I'm teaching. So that the students are able to, see that and feel that, and maybe also tap into their own, self-acceptance.
How important is it for you to have that intention of selfless service?
It's very important, but at the same time, it's also so natural to me. It's not something I have to, think about. And I can definitely say that it's not how I've been always, It's again part of my own inner journey and my own growth, and really by being a student of life and student of yoga, to be in service, to be in the act itself without really thinking about the outcome.
Present moment.
To be in a present moment. And what I can embody in this present moment is only who I truly am. And by sharing my heart, my core, I feel that's my core, my heart, my soul. Everything else will follow. To be in service, to show up to life with dedication and with grace and with love.
So beautiful, Kadi. My goodness, that's just amazing.
I was journaling on that just a few days ago. It's interesting that you brought in the word of embodiment, because I usually do a little, reflection ceremony, end of the year, beginning of the year,
which are amazing.
Yeah. And this year, the word that just kind of kept coming through was like embodiment. And then I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around really like embody, like to embody what, like. And then as I took my pen and paper, I started to journal, and that's what I came to. Like, I can only embody who I am. I can only embody my higher self as I am right now in this moment. And this will change naturally. I hope I can bring that forward in my teachings and in my life.
I definitely think that you do, for sure. I continuously say this, but just the energy that you hold and how you hold it, and because you have the self-acceptance and self-love, and you're not strapping yourself to only show up as this amazingly healed person that's so perfect, and I do yoga and I'm super flexible and I have all the things.
No way.
It's just like you're coming in, and it's like having like someone who's been in war and like maybe they have a couple scratches still, and they're still shining so bright, but we can see where they've healed, and they're wearing that proudly, not in a way that is like, oh, I'm bound by the things I've gone through, but it's like I've gone through these things and I'm still glowing, and I'm still a goddess, and I'm still so loving, and I'm choosing to be aware of the patterns that I have and how I can grow in my life and in my business and in my relationships, and who I am to myself and the energy that I hold, and how I know that if I am able to just have this approach with myself, I can actually help someone else to do the same, just because I was able to do it for myself. And like you putting yourself first, something that was a question that sparked my mind when you were speaking is, how exactly would you differentiate selfless service versus the old pattern that you had of always feeling like you had to do everything and be the person in control? Because I feel as though it can be an interesting journey. Like sometimes they can cross over if someone's looking at it a certain way. So how would you balance that from now? Just looking at the two. How are they different?
I guess one was just, rushing, doing things without awareness, and the other one, selfless service, is doing things from the heart. Because when we lead from our hearts, when we really live from that place of, knowing and trust and, surrendering to life, everything will fall into its place.
There's such a difference between knowing and believing. I was just talking with my partner about this, I think this morning. It's like when you have that knowing and that trust that you're talking about, the believing, it definitely sounds amazing, and I think that it is. I think it's a journey, but to a certain degree, that's like just hoping and almost not really believing. But to say you have a knowing, it's this different conviction that you hold within yourself.
Yes, and sometimes we think that our life needs to go this or that way, and we make our plans, and that's beautiful. But in my own, experience, there have been moments when my life actually needed to go the other way. Almost like taking a reroute that actually brought me to much better place. And that comes by trusting and surrendering. And at the same time also taking action and showing up.
Nice balance.
Yes. Balance has been another kind of keyword in my life for years, when we moved here, life was also much more joyous and going out and experiencing life and experiences and all of that. I did a lot of, I guess I cannot say like that, but in the first few years, a lot of the weekends, how we spent them was just going out and partying and dancing and having fun. Yeah. So, and as I was progressing or starting more and more in my yoga practice, I understood that, there needs to be a balance. I am a very social person that maybe years back said yes to everything, and all gatherings and invitations that actually sometimes I was just leaking my energy into too many directions. So
How could you sense that? How were you able to detect that your energy is becoming scattered?
yeah, I guess just being tired, not having sharp mind, thinking about too many things at the same time. Yeah, just not like, just feeling not connected, I guess. And again, that used to be my life years back, that I kept going and going and doing and doing. And um, I had my full-time work, I was doing my master's degree, and then I also had my own company in Estonia. And then plus my hobbies, my family and friends. And right now I'm like, how did I do it? And I think for a while you can do it, and it's beautiful to have that much growth and expansion. But at the same time, can I really say that I was present in that all? Probably not.
Right.
Probably not. And also I had to learn how to be present. Again, coming back to the practices and tools and the gift of yoga, really, I'm not the same person before and after kind of finding yoga and really starting to practice. And why I keep mentioning the word practice is that, it's not something you do once or twice. It's something that almost comes part of your life. It comes part of your daily life, hopefully. And whatever it is for someone, for me, mostly it's yoga and meditation, breath work. These practices that keep me grounded. And more we kind of practice them when times are great and when things are going beautifully. We can kind of cultivate this strength, this energy that also we can then take from when we need it most. And the most profound practices I've had have been moments when life has happened.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's nice to have a good, like, let's say meditation, and you're just going through the worst time in your life, anything, maybe emotionally, financially, whatever the case may be, and those are the moments that you really, really remember. So there's so much of our bodies also remember that too, like just how you're feeling during that moment, and then your mind, and you got your emotions and your energy, and to be able to see that as a gift, to which takes a lot when you're in the midst of it, definitely does not seem like that at first.
Of course.
But when you look back at it, like, those are the moments that really allow us to see how far we really can go with our resilience in general and who we are, and like a piece of that embodiment that creates that embodiment really are those moments too. It's really interesting, and it's so beautiful to hear just every piece of your story and your values and your mission within what you do. And with that being said, I want to get into more about just your yoga and your practice, because I think that so much of who you've become is also inserted into that flow and that experience that you hold for others. What would you say is your main intention for your actual students to experience, or to just in general, any intention that you have for them during your classes and experiences and ceremonies?
Well, I would say the number one intention is to make people feel that they belong. That they belong. Whatever it is that they're navigating in their life, whatever is happening or has happened, that they're still loved, and that they belong. That they
How is that connected to you? Because I really believe that when you have something, any vision really, anything that you're doing, even with selfless service, it's still reflecting back as to this is allowing me to feel a certain way as well, or I feel connected when I do this, and that I love it. So when you want them to belong, how does Kadi fit into that? Like, what are you speaking to a version of yourself that maybe wanted to feel that way, or just anything?
in some ways, for sure, we are lucky to have a lot of good friends here, but a lot of my good friends are also still, in Europe or live their lives there. My family the same way. So I guess just to have a community myself where I feel that I belong, that and then to offer the same for others to feel. Yeah, good question. As soon as you started to, bring it up, I was like, wow, yeah. Now I know why. Now I know why it came to be. And that idea just came to me in one of my meditations. Yeah.
Wow.
So for years, my friends around me kept telling me that, they see my love for yoga and this practice, but I guess I wasn't ready then yet to kind of share it as a teacher. I shared it as a friend, as a human, as a partner, as these practices are not, only you do in a yoga room. But yeah, it took me a little while to understand that, I guess I have hold the space, or yoga has hold the space for me for so long, and that I was ready to also hold space for others. And then, I went and joined my first yoga teacher training. That itself was already such a beautiful and an expansive and beautiful journey. And then soon after, I started teaching community classes on the beach.
Beautiful classes, by the way. Even when I say classes, it's like it really feels like an experience. There's so much to it, like whether you have sound bowls with it, or maybe cacao or Reiki. It's just, and there's always an intention that you have with it. And recently I went to one of your classes and you had your note card about intention and attention, which is really beautiful, and something I was actually coming back to from a different, like, just teaching. So it was nice to have that sign just from you writing down on cards what a quote for everyone to remember and go by. When you are in your flow and you're guiding people, how would you describe your essence in those moments? Like your energy, or how you are, who you are.
Well, that definitely has expanded a lot. as I also have grown as a teacher. I remember very well my first class, being a little bit nervous and excited at the same time. Mm. And also the way I started my teaching as a teacher was that I just started sunrise morning yoga classes on the beach without the experiences. And I remember it very well that I had my friends there to join me and to support me, and really I have beautiful, beautiful friendships here that really are there for me and to keep me that keep pushing me to show up, and kind of sometimes we all need that extra push, right, to keep going. But I remember in that morning, it was actually a year ago, so just very recently. I remember in that morning that I was sharing that, yes, this morning I'm sharing yoga here, regular yoga class, yoga practice here, but I wanted to bring forward also other people into that Live Love Yoga Life community. Whether it's then kind of sound healing, cacao ceremonies, Reiki, all that you mentioned, and a lot is still yet to come. And I said it out in that morning there. And few months later, we kicked off our first yoga and sound healing.
Wow.
Experience, as you said. Yeah. So there's right now, I guess I'm sharing my energy between being a yoga teacher in studios and also on the beach, and then also sharing my energy between being a co-creator and bringing together facilitators who will also offer other type of spiritual practices to ones who are ready to expand.
Speaking of expansion, how do you, and this is not just talking with you, I'm aware of like your approach to this, but how do you, and this is very unconsciously with you, so it'll be an interesting question. How do you actually grow your practice? Do you focus solely on just what's your flow with it, if you have any? What are you doing to grow it, even if it's not quote conventional or the way to grow a yoga business? Like any, how are you broadening your message and who you are and your energy and the flow and experiences that you can facilitate to people?
What do you mean by practice? Practice meaning as my practice, my
your
personal
classes,
practice? Okay.
Like your classes. How are you growing your business?
To be honest, all of this past year have been really exceptional and such a big expansion and growth, but at the same time it has been very organic and it has been very easy, I would say. Not easy about that whether, yes, I'm still putting a lot of effort and my time and dedication in it for sure, but easy in a way that people are just finding us, and easy in a way that opportunities have shown up to me, or like I have been offered first to sub for yoga classes and then to teach yoga classes, and just with dedication, with discipline, by stepping up, saying yes as much as I can, facing my fears.
That's
big
a big
thing,
one. Yeah.
a big thing. noticing my own limited beliefs, like noticing that that Kadi that is like, are you ready?
Right. Yeah.
And then also affirming her that yes, you are ready, and by just doing it, by just stepping into, and that is the best way to grow, I think, to really do it,
Just go for it.
to go for it, to experience it, to eat, to do it, and then also to learn from it, to reflect on it, come back home and to reflect what happened, what went well, what could I change, what are the areas that I should, maybe dedicate my time more to. Oh, we have birds here.
I know.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it until you.
I was like, oh, I don't know how close he's gonna come over. It's really interesting, just the way that we can grow as much as we allow ourselves to, really. And the fact that you're quite conscious, and it doesn't mean anyone's perfect, but just very aware of the fact that you have growth in mind. To some capacity, you have growth in mind, and you're able to separate when you are limiting yourself and when it's time to step out of your comfort zone and actually grow and make this bigger. Because the more that you can grow yourself and really get out of your comfort zone, the more that you can touch other people. But in that process, the thing that makes the most sense and what really hits us home, or would hit you home, is just how you would feel to have to expand yourself, and that allowing you to just get back in touch with the fact that you truly are in this act of selfless service that serves you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It serves
yes.
you, but because you're serving yourself, you're serving other people, and not having to worry through that on how you're going to grow your business or how is this going to happen. And it doesn't mean it wouldn't pop up, but just the fact that you are trusting it's going to come to me, but when it does, I'm going to make the most out of my opportunities, not stopping them by a limited belief or I don't want to get out of my comfort zone, but just bringing them in, and you actually transforming yourself and molding yourself into the new version of Kadi that maybe you would have to be, most likely, to accept and fully receive this opportunity on whatever it is in your business and in life in general, which is, I think it's a really beautiful process of how it goes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Kadi, that is all for right now. Until we chat again, we'll probably chat right after this. But for the podcast's sake and YouTube, for right now, we'll keep it there. But I want to end with a couple of questions that I have in mind. And grab them really quick.
It's been really, really fun and beautiful experience, I have to say.
I'm glad. Okay, last two questions. What do you feel within this experience has been reflected back to you and brought into your awareness of your business and yourself? So two separate answers, but what was reflected back to you during this?
Yeah, it was, I feel like it was just a beautiful conversation with my friend, sharing my heart and reflecting my journey, reflecting on all the blessings and all the lessons that are present in my life right now.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Nice. I love that. Definitely feel that too. How does it feel for you to have reflected back on those blessings and lessons?
Feels good. It's very important to have those moments of, pausing and reflecting and really feeling it. Like, is it really honoring myself right now, where I am, Is that really honoring myself? Those are the really important pauses and moments that I think and hopefully we all can take, and or maybe also including me, take them more often, to reflect and notice and be present. You have this moment to, count the blessings, and then also see, is it still honoring who I am? Is there a need to shift or change? Is there ways to expand even more? Yeah. Very.
Just having that curiosity sounds like just a curious mind. Seems like what you're describing. It's what comes to me when you're speaking. It's forever open, like a child, like always just open and curious to life itself.
Yeah. Childlike.
Childlike, yeah.
Childlike.
Yes. Okay. So, we'll close out. But what would you say in one sentence is the underlying message that you hold within all that you do for other people?
Lead from your heart. It will never fail you.
Nice. High five, Kadi. Oh, I love you so much.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.